idea. Oh, well, she was pleasant, wasn't she? All right, you guys. Hi. Um, Excited to be kind of leading off this call with Jen to on the eve of probably one of the biggest launches in probably LifeVantage history. And maybe we said that last year with the launch of the Mind Body GLP-1. I know it broke the internet, and I think tomorrow is just going to far exceed any of our expectations. So tonight we just thought it would be really like simplistic. We don't have a training, nothing that we want to complicate because we are already inundated with so much information, so much great information around P84. So really just kind of want to allow, like, just kind of give ideas, talk through ways to be able to receive the information and deliver it out into our spaces, our respective communities, friends, families, text messages, emails, phone calls, Zooms, whatever, in the most kind of simplistic way for them to receive it. Because I think we can get caught up in the science and all of the things that we might be interested in hearing or knowing, thinking that that needs to validate the product instead of just thinking about simple terms that people need to hear. So just kind of thought we'd go through some best practices. So I'll kind of throw a couple out, and then Jen's probably got a couple too. She can backfill as well. And then really just wanted to open up for us to all have dialogue about, what our approach is going to be tomorrow. And then also some ideas that we've got coming down the line that when Tanya is back. So those of you guys hopping on, you've got myself, Taryn. I know it shows that I'm Tanya. And Jen, we are just kind of teaming up to keep our call in place because Miss Tanya is on her way for through LA. She's heading out to some activation tours. So really excited for her. A lot coming down the line, and what a great opportunity for her to be in that position. So we'll be cheering her on from the sidelines, and we are going to carry the torch for her, especially with the launch tomorrow. So again, just keeping things really simplistic. A couple things that I've really been working on is I opened up a note section in my phone, first and foremost, and I've been taking names down of pre-orders. So if you haven't, it's certainly not too late. Okay. But I've been talking to people, calling them, texting them, making it very personal, especially with people that are in my life that maybe trusted me with the Mind Body GLP-1, and it just wasn't a hit for them. And I know a lot of us are kind of like, oh God, maybe gun shy about coming out of the gates with this because we may not have earth shattering results, right? So let's kind of take a step back, take it what it's worth, and be able to educate people with what we know and also address what their issues are. So, aside from just the list of names that I'm taking for pre-orders, I'm also documenting things that they've shared with me or what their problem was that I want to solve, and using that in their terminology. So we have to remember that not everybody has sat through hours upon hours of trainings and workshops and Zoom calls of other leaders explaining it and doctors talking about what P84 does. They do not get any of that terminology. 9% of them probably don't. So just think about your person or what maybe problem you have that could be being resolved. I know all of us kind of have a story, but just really kind of think about what are those terms that people are suffering with every single day. It could be bloat, it could be brain fog. So there's like triggering words, if you will, that think about that when we're talking to people, or if you're going to go out on social media, explain these things, and just so people can like relate to, oh my gosh, I have that, I have that, I have that. Like, what happens when our gut is out of line, right? Well, we tend to get sicker. Maybe we are constipated. We have bowel issues. Maybe we don't have healthy bowels. Sheila and I were talking about how healthy our bowels have been. Just even simple things like that, you know? So just thinking about what other people are experiencing that P84 could be a tool for. Another thing that I really set people up for expectations is that it's not going to be a one and done. It is not going to be earth shattering in 30 days. I always am upfront and say, you need to give this at least 30 or 3 months, because I don't know what condition your gut is in. And yes, we know that it activates 14 peptides in the gut, but we just don't know how long it's going to take for you to be able to feel the effects. You could feel something in a week, you could feel something in 2, you could feel something in 45 days, but I don't want to set you up for failure thinking that you're going to have this like earth-shattering experience in 30 days. And I'm certainly not leading with anything related to weight loss, because I don't want anyone to think that this is a sole tool. Because again, everybody's looking for instant gratification, but we can teach them, hey, you could actually feel better, you could sleep better, you can have more natural energy through the day, you can, fill in the blank. So beyond that, just kind of targeting and being prepared for what tomorrow will bring. I think we're learning that it's going to be live at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. That could be like, hey, it's 10 a.m., but looks like they got it out an hour early. So just staying plugged into our channels. I know as soon as Tanya knows, she's going to let us all know. If somebody sneaks on and sees it there sooner, make sure you kind of let us all know. But what I'm doing, having a cart set up for customers and a cart set up for consultants. Anyone that decides they want to get on board as a consultant, just 2 carts. Make it super simple, not the link to the actual package, but a cart that they just literally have to fill out their information and submit order and be done. So just really make it so simple for people to complete the order once it goes live tomorrow. Jen, do you have anything to kind of share on that? And where'd she go?
Yeah,
Oh, there
one
you
of
are.
the things that a couple of you guys were just on there, but like one of the things that I'm just going back to kind of Vicky, like how do you share this you know, based off of like I'm going to say PTSD from mind body is one of the things that this Dr. Hendricks basically just said is that when you're asking questions, just like we would do with Protandim is, hey, go to PubMed and type in whatever it is, oxidative stress and whatever it is that you deal with. He suggested, we educate on dysbiosis, which is basically an imbalance of the gut. And we probably all have that just simply based off of our food, our water, all of those kinds of things. And so he suggested just going to Google, type in dysbiosis and whatever it is that you deal with, anxiety, ADHD, cancer, like inflammation, diabetes, whatever that is, and just say, and there's always going to be like a link in that AI section. And then just say, hey, tell me what that means to you, and just start that conversation with them. You don't have to convince them. You can just simply say, hey, this might help you over time with that. Would you be willing to order it and give it a try? And then he did talk about the fact that it does like 120 days. He's like, I'm not going to waste your money if you're not willing to commit to that 120-day mark. I've mostly been having just conversations with people, especially like the mind body. I did reach out to somebody, a couple of people last week, and just kind of use that. Hey, I know that you tried Mind Body, you stopped that for whatever reason. Tell me where you're at, and just started a new conversation. I didn't go and say, hey, there's a new product. I didn't go and say, hey. I just said I wanted to check in. It's been a year. Tell me where you're at. Tell me some of the things that you might want help with. Because maybe it isn't P84 right now. Maybe it is just re-engaging a conversation and getting them going over time, and starting the conversation again. What we do is just conversations. What we do is just helping people help themselves when they're ready. I had a conversation with a consultant that's getting re-engaged, and so she asked, how do I know what to give them? And I kind of go back to last year when we talked, or we're getting people ready for something like, yes, Healthy Edge is awesome, but maybe if they want a faster result, maybe they want P84 and Trisynergizer. Like, how fast do they want to go? So is there a good, better, or a best that you might have ready to be able to just tag them in and educate them in. So, yes, P84 and Protandim. Maybe it's P84 and Trisynergizer. Maybe it's P84, Trisynergizer, and liquid collagen. Who wouldn't love that, right? Like, just like Gloria Brinker does, and she's like, if you're going to do this, you should do this right away, right? Like, how fast do you want to feel better? But also start them slow so that they don't have like all of the things and they just get out of it. That's where the education begins, is working through that piece of it.
And I was just going to say, to go back to the kind of PTSD with mind body.
Mhm.
Um, I've gone back to those people that have fallen off mind body and I said, "Hey, listen, I recognize that it was not a good fit for you, and I don't apologize
Mhm.
because I only gave them the knowledge and education that I knew. And I, was very upfront. Most of these people bought right out of the gates when we launched. And so I said, "Hey, I don't have a long-standing experience with this product, but I'm just going to share what I've learned and what we know and allow you to
Mhm.
make the decision if it's going to be a tool for you." And I said, "You've got to give me 3 to 6 months." The reality of people that were on the mind body system is, pretty sure, at least people in my clientele, they weren't consistent. They were not getting in all
Mhm.
the scoops. They would forget, they would take it later. So we have to recognize that although it didn't work for them, how consistent were they? And not that we're going to go back and judge them and be like, "Well, I bet you weren't consistent," but just acknowledging, saying, "Hey, you know what? It maybe just wasn't the right time for you. That wasn't the right tool because perhaps your gut might not be
Mhm.
functioning properly. So let's work on healing that." And if you're open, I'd love for you to give this a try and see if this could be something that turns over your gut first. And then if we want to explore mind body down the road, great. We can cycle it in and cycle one out. I don't want to throw everything at you, but if you're open and you'd be willing to try it, I'd like to have another chance to see if we can help insert whatever their issue was initially.
Mhm.
So again, going back and listening and being vulnerable to the fact that, hey, a product you recommended didn't work for them. And that's fine. We've learned a lot in the last year about mind body. And we've also learned now with P84 that if the gut is not in a space of being able to be healed, then really nothing is going to work, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And I do think, Vicky, you're right, and Sheila, you're right. Like, I think it, for a lot of people, it is going to be the missing link. Or maybe mind body helped them for a period of time, like it did for me. And then it didn't, right? And I think part of it is it did help with my gut for a while, and then it kind of plateaued again. So I know I have a terrible gut. So I will tell you, I'm in day 4 of a half, and I don't think I've ever had this bad of gas. So I also think that it's one of those things like we're gonna have to be a little bit prepared in your notes as well to just do a friendly follow up. Like whether it's put it on your calendar, get prepared for just a quick like text message, have them like in your notes. How are you doing? You don't even have to, like tell me what you think. Like it doesn't even have to be anything. It has to be super simple. When I was talking to Dr. Cheryl Bones in Dallas, she said one of the people that eventually became a consultant was she goes, I just said, tell me what you think. Instead of being like, hey, how do you feel? Hey, are you noticing this? Instead of leading the question, she simply said, tell me what you think. And it opened the door for her to tell her whatever she needed to say, as opposed to it being a specific something that she thought she should feel. So just really like thinking about going, you know, day 5, day 7, or ask them to check in with you, whatever it is that you want to do so that you're not having to feel like you always have to reach out, but maybe you ask them to. Just opening up those conversations, I think that it'll go farther. And it's one of the things that I wish I would have done during Mind Body because I think that I could have educated along the way of what was and wasn't working for myself. And I think that we will see that they are feeling something, or maybe they're going to be embarrassed by gas, or maybe they're going to be embarrassed because they saw other people in these other groups like being able to go potty and they can't. Like different things like that. Like everybody's body is going to be very, very different.
Oh yeah, how much better Protanum, how much better everything will work, right? And
Mhm.
this could be a really great conversation to advise them to, depending on how comfortable you are in like understanding health, is this could be an opportunity for them to thin out a ton of supplements that they're on. For those of us that were in Dallas, it was fascinating when Kelly Olson talked about his wife and the cupboards full of supplements, and like there has to be a better way that our bodies might actually be more efficient in producing or absorbing some of these nutrients, that we won't
Mhm.
need all these extra supplements. I mean, there's a core criteria, or there's a core set of supplements that our bodies do need that we can't necessarily make. But people have they're on. So many people take greens, right? But do they know what's in it and why they're taking it? So that's kind of our opportunity to leverage that of, hey, what if we could thin out some of the things that you're taking so
Mhm.
it's a more simplified system for you.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think it's even easy to just, when you're starting a question like, how good are you about eating your fruits and vegetables? And they're going to be like, I'm not. Well, what do you take for that? Nothing. You know, would you, if there was something that had the majority of your fruits and vegetables that you could take on a daily basis and not have to buy them in the grocery store and clean them and then remember to eat them, is that something you try?
mhm.
And then you can say, I want to invite you to a group where you can learn more about it. And then we start the education piece, right? It's just getting them the initial yes, and then the next yes, and then the next yes.
Because also some people can't effectively eat vegetables. Like a lot of people, oddly enough, vegetables make them bloated. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, like all the good cruciferous vegetables could be totally just ripping people's stomachs apart, and they can't enjoy that. But we know vegetables are healthy. So, how great is it that it's all available in a very simple two packet system that we take every morning on an empty stomach? And Vicky, and to go back to your thought here, feeling like you misled people, um, and that you didn't. It was definitely unintentional. Like we only had the information and knowledge that we had. We had the excitement, right? The
Mhm.
hope that this could be an invaluable tool to change the trajectory of somebody's health. That's not, like we can't take fault for the fact that we guided them based on information that we knew. Like if we were chasing a sale, then we kind of have to come clean with that with
Mhm.
ourselves. But we led with love, we led with hope, we led with a tool that we felt based on the information that we learned that it was going to be a successful option for them. So that's just an opportunity to go back and talk to them and say, hey, you know what? We've learned a lot in the last year. And yes,
Mhm.
Mind Body is doing amazing things for a certain population. However, I know personally it didn't really do what I wanted it to do for me, but I recognize that it could be, now that I've learned, my gut health. So I'm giving this a try. And I wanted to come back to you and say, hey, maybe this could be a tool that will just start to kind of clean out the garbage and get you back into a more efficient digestive track on back on track, just those kind of things that they will go, oh, okay. But if you're owning the
Mhm.
fact that, you know what, we thought it was going to be a great tool, and it was for some, but not for everybody. And so, those that it wasn't a great fit for, we recognize that it could be the gut. We know so much about the gut now, and I've learned so much in a short window of time, so you could just be really transparent and just ask, would you be willing to give this a shot? Would you do it with me for 3 months
Mhm.
or 120 days? You know, and I think people will appreciate the honesty that, that approach, taking it from that approach versus, you know, well, I mean, you weren't intentional about it. So, like you said, you were unintentional. But
Mhm.
just now we have more information. We're armed with more knowledge.
Mhm. And Taryn, do you want to talk about your idea about, and then what we want to do in Live Life Activated, kind of for like the 2 weeks before Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Tanya and I had talked about doing a kind of a Facebook I wouldn't say watch party, but we were going to evolve it. So if you guys remember, maybe it was last month, we did kind of a 5-day party talking about all of our peak products, like our hero products, the top five, right? And so we just educated every day on a certain stack. So we were going to take that same concept, and Tanya came up with this 14-day gut reset concept, and it would be 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving. So we give people these next few days to get their orders in, and you can start talking about it because we want to have it in hands, right? And it would just be a whole like 14 days of education, whether they're doing it alongside or that needs to be that time for them to learn about it, see stories, get a little background to it. But it's giving them an opportunity to try it for 2 weeks. And there's going to be so many different ways that you can do this. Obviously, getting people set up with a cart, which Jenny, I saw your question on how to send them a cart. So I'll do a screen share and show that here in a minute. But you can send them a cart to participate with us. Or if you have the means to do it, you can create little 14-day packets. If you have extra or you're planning on buying extra, you can create a 14-day pack for someone to purchase from you. Just, price it accordingly. There's lots of ways to do it, but this will be in the Live Life Activated group that it will be all laid out. And Tanya, she's dialed in with this stuff, and she does it so well. And I think that last one went really well, just to educate people, right? There'll be a ton of information too. I know the Pose and One Person Big Difference, they're going to have a separate P84 group that'll be specific to stories and more education. So that will be an option, but we're going to keep everything in Live Life Activated so we don't do another group to get people a part of. So that'll be, Tanya will talk more about that, but we just wanted to make sure you guys knew that was coming up, and it will be 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, which really is like next week, right? Gosh, that's happening fast. So we'll be starting that. So it'll be a great one to get people excited about it.
Back here. But I think that everybody likes to imagine.
And then one thing you can like, so one idea that I have is to order an extra pack tomorrow and do like a 5-day sampler almost, where I would do like 5 days. So some people can do them, maybe it'll last them 10 days if they need to do a half. And I'm gonna probably charge something because I always feel like if I give it to them, they maybe won't try it right. So even if it's $5 or $10, it's normally like a $6 a day commitment. But almost ask them to do like a ditch and switch. So like I've been trying to find like 5 people for sure that are already on AG1 or on another green drink that I could ask them to do a ditch and switch and really track for me how they are going to feel, and get a good idea of like, is this doing something more than what that is, just for their own benefit. So you can do something like that, just like if, like Taryn said, if you wanted to do a 14-day something or another where they would buy it from you and you drop it off or you send it to them, that is a great way to also get them introduced, help them with that gut reset, and then follow up with them for a product. AG1 is like, I don't know, there's a lot of like nutritionists on different places. You can get it at Costco. Supposedly it has like all fruits and vegetables. It's a green drink that a lot of people have started to drink probably over the last like 3 to 5 years.
With probably I would be interested to know if somebody that has consumed that on a regular basis, if they truly know that it's working versus
Mhm.
knowing that they're doing the right thing by taking their greens. We have such a advantage in the marketplace in this gut health space because of the background information and the fact that this product's been on the market for 3 years, right? Like, so just remember that this is not a brand new product. It's brand new to us, but it's been on the market for almost 3 years. From what I understand from the Live Life, we didn't have that with GLP, right? We had a small market that had taken the product and they were very consistent. So it was, a very controlled subject group, right? And so we at least have real people that have used this. Many of us had interviews with them, talked with them, heard their stories. So that's just another great advantage point that you could leverage too, Vicky, in being worried about the concern of, hey, you know what, I feel like I misfired with Mind Body, right? Like it's really just, hey, that was new on the market. And you know, so all these other ones that are out there that are green drinks, what are they even doing, you know? So and don't even worry about them, like don't even spend your time trying to compare them, but just say, you know what, if you do take a greens, like Jen said, give this a try and see if you notice a difference in 14 days, you know. That's a great start. Okay, so anybody else have anything? I wanted to try and I wanted to show you guys how to send a cart, for those that don't know. So I was just going to share my screen really quick. Let's see if this works. Share this window. Sure. Can you guys see that? Okay, can you guys see this on the LifeVantage? So this is on my page.
Go back. You can't right now. We could before.
Oh, you can't? Now it's not sharing. Okay. Share screen. Share this window. Screen sharing. But then if I go and click on the window to share, it stops. Can you see that?
You can see it now, yes.
You can. Okay. So I'm just going to use the Healthy Glow stack as an example. And this is sending it to a customer. Okay. So I've added this to the cart and it's on a monthly subscription. So there's this little share button and it's going to share this link. You can email it to them. But what I like to do is I copy it and I will text it and email it to them, because some people like to have it on their computer so they can order it. I always will encourage people to order on a computer, especially tomorrow. I think with mobile phones, it can get a little glitchy sometimes, but it's just simply copying it and it's going to send them. And I'll just paste it in here so you can see. It's going to go right to the cart for them to check out. So thank you for your interest. Here's your shopping cart I prepared for you. So it's a little personal, which is nice. And then they're just going to simply check out. And then there it is. It's right in their cart. And then, you know, there's going to fill out their own information there. But that's how easy it is to send a cart versus a link to the actual product. And you can also do the same on, the app. So if you haven't used the app, I encourage you to play around with it tonight or maybe even early tomorrow, just so you could get comfortable with what it would look like to send a cart. And I know that Tanya has put that in boards. So go and check out the boards, get yourself familiar. So if people are like, I'm ready, I want to order, you're not kind of panicking and, you know, not knowing what to do and what to send them. You really want to kind of strike when the iron's hot. Dr. Henderson said P84 came out in March.
Yeah, so there was another product that was out that was similar to P84, but it wasn't the full formulation that they have right now.
Okay.
And
That's
so
good
I
to know.
think like Dr. Tamia talked about that previously, that she had been on a previous product for about 2 years, and then transitioned to P84 when it came out.
Perfect. Well, then that's much more accurate. I know there was a 3-part system that a lot of them were on, and so some of them had been on it on its own or been on this 3-part system. You know, so at least there's longevity in the efficacy of the product lineup that Love Biome had come out. So at least we have that.
Yeah.
What else? Any other questions or ideas that you guys are going to be launching tomorrow when you get this out to your network? Yes.
We're just unabashedly following up with people that quit on us previously and just said, you know, you had your issue, especially if it was a gut health issue. And, yeah, I sent a text to a gal earlier tonight and just said, you know, we got something you might want to try if you're still struggling.
Mhm.
We've got a money back guarantees. We've got, there's just a lot of good reasons for you to try and not just accept poor gut health.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
How are most people responding to that, Dean?
I'm waiting to find out.
Mm.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I've had a couple of them that were pretty hard stops and kind of mad at us, but I don't care. They had an issue. I'd love to help them, and
Mhm.
I'll find out if they're still upset about it, or maybe they found something they love. But hey, we got something else for them to try.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's a low hanging fruit. I think going back to your old customers that have fallen off subscription, which Tanya showed us last week how to do that. So maybe it's worth
Mhm.
practicing and just calling them. People want to hear your voice. I find that text messages or voice messages get far more response back because they get to hear the passion and the excitement in my voice versus an email. I personally need to get better at calling. I know I don't answer my phone half the time when somebody calls me, but the effort of them seeing that you are making a personal like a personal touch can make a difference. So that's a low hanging fruit. It's just going back to people that started out with something and maybe just who knows why they stopped. Maybe you do know, maybe you don't. They just kind of slowly did like an Irish exit.
Mhm.
Well, and Sean Poe in the leaders group said basically, the fastest way to grow your business is to go back and get some of the customers you lost and to recruit new ones. And you wouldn't necessarily think that, he basically said number 3 would be upgrading existing customers to additional product.
Mhm.
I think was how he put it. But so yeah, we got to go after the low hanging fruits and get people back because they're still looking for something if they had the issue. That's the way I look at it. And if they haven't found a solution, hey, maybe we have it this time. So
I had some people that were not interested in trying anything because they either had irritable bowel or some other major gut problems. And so they kind of use that as an excuse. At least I thought it was an excuse not to try a Protandim or anything else. And so I've made contact with, a couple of those people. And now there seems to be a new kind of openness. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them.
Love it. Yeah. Lots of opportunities and just they're like success leaves clues, right? So anything that you see that's getting shared, and Tanya does such a great job at making sure we have as much shareables that we could possibly have. But just from a social media, if you're going to go out and post something on your Facebook page or Instagram or on your stories, make it personal, right? Like Facebook and Instagram want to have a face, a visual versus like a product. So, try to avoid posting a picture or, a stock photo of the product and putting it on your page, and just be really conversational about it. And, they want to see a face because that carries more weight as far as meta goes with Facebook and Instagram. You just don't want to come off as a billboard, right? Because people will just scroll right on by. People like personal and feel like they're having a conversation with you, even if it's a Facebook post.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm just gonna Tanya wanted us to remind you of is that there's going to be a lot coming at you, just like with Mind Body, just like with collagen. So pick the things for you that you want to plug into. And 99% of the things that come out are going to be recorded. So you don't have to feel like you're getting FOMO, that you're missing out on something because you get to plug into the things when you can, and there's always going to be a recording that you can listen back just like you would a podcast, or you can plug in, or you can ask somebody, hey, were you able to be on that? And you can ask them for a recap. So don't get overwhelmed by that. I know that Taryn said earlier today that she had deleted a couple of the notifications because she's like, this is where I go to get my information. I set a time to go and do it, and that's when I do it. So if that's easier for you, is to turn off your notifications and put it on your calendar, say at like 10 o'clock or say at noon, or maybe it's you know, after you've done your devotionals and your workout or whatever it is that your morning routine is, go then touch your business and then go do your action. Because if we're not, if we're always looking at all the things like every single group all the time, then we're not getting into action. And it's easy for me to get distracted. And so I have had to go back in and just put it on my calendar. This is when I go to catch up on things, and this is when I go do my work.
Perfect.
And
Alrighty,
then
you guys
don't forget the
excited?
activation tour. So on the 5th, they're in Ankeny, Iowa. On the 6th, holla, you're all in Minnesota. All of you crazy, amazing Minnesotans. And I do think that what I saw on Team Act is that Tanya is intending to try to live stream that into Team Act for us because Gloria and everybody is such good teachers. Tina, you want to tell us why you're excited about Minnesota? And then we'll try to get wrapped up here
Oh,
shortly.
Gloria's got, what did she say, like 70 pre-registered already? And that doesn't even
Oh.
include, like, was it last year when we did it? There was 0 pre-registration and we had just shy of 100 people there. So currently, she's got almost 70 pre-registered, and I myself sent out over 100 mail invites, as well as probably equally as many through texting and everything else. And so yeah, it's going to be insane. I'm excited. I'm hoping that we're going to have way more than we even did last year. So it's going to be fun. It'll be interesting to see if we get to live stream it, because I asked Chloe, I said, can we record this? She goes, I don't think that's a good idea. I tend to say things. So Tanya, you'll have to talk to her, because I would really like to see it recorded as well.
Love it. Love
Give her a
it.
nudge. We'll give her a nudge. Yeah, but leverage those events, even if it's not in a town by you. Maybe you know somebody that lives there, and get them connected to these in-person events, especially when we know that Tanya's going to be there. Like, what a gift to hear her present. It was so moving having her here in back in Idaho for a quick visit, and she just kills it. So we know all these events and all of these presenters are phenomenal. So they're just going to be super powerful.
Yep. And I would say if you're struggling with a list, go to the activation page and go look at the activation tour list and go and be like, even if you put out like on your story, like, who are my friends in Peyton, Colorado, or who, like, go look up Google, where's Peyton, Colorado, find a city that's within 15 to 30 minutes from there and just put it out there and just ask. People will start to engage in things, and then you can start conversations with them. And if they can't go, you can simply invite them in to Live Life Activated and help educate them if they're willing to just be in that group.
Yep.
Any last minute questions that you guys have?
Big day tomorrow. Woo! Who's excited?
Awesome.
It's gonna be great.
Should we close this out in prayer again? Like just like Tanya would?
Yeah, Jen, take it away.
All right. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we just thank you for bringing us all here together, for making us a part of Team Act and Life Vantage. We just know that you have a plan and a purpose for each of one of us in this business, whether it's to grow personally, to change lives. We all know that that is the impact that we will make, whether it's health, whether it's being part of a community, whether it's being seen and recognized. Just help us to know what it is that the people that you place in our lives, what it is that they need. We just ask that you would utilize us each and every day to see that person, to make a difference for them, and to open their mind and their heart to ways that they might be able to feel better, that they might be able to know your love even more. And we just thank you for the people of Love Biome. We thank you for the science behind all of this. And we thank you for gently guiding each and every one of us in ways that you are guiding us. We just ask for provision, and we ask for your guidance. And we ask the angels to continue to be with Tanya as she travels, that she would arrive safely back home. And we just ask for your guidance within the activation tour. Just send us the people that need to hear it, and open our mouths and our ears, mostly open our ears, so that we will talk less and that we will listen more, and that we will keep things simple. All this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, before you guys go, let's take a quick picture so we can show Tanya how much we miss her. All right. You guys want it? Hearts up, cameras on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Okay, she's gonna be so proud of us. All right, you guys, good luck tomorrow. Let's just collaborate and just go out there with full hearts and great intentions. You guys all have an awesome night and have fun at your upcoming events.
Thank you,
Good
ladies.
night.
You're the best.
Bye, guys.
Good night.